Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's press conference on another beautiful day in Erie. Today, we're going to cover three topics. They all involve community policing initiatives and will help reduce crime over time. First, we'll review the transformative work of the Police Athletic League and announce another new grant they just got awarded. Second, we'll present an overview of our Unified Erie partnership. And third, we will provide an update on the Burn Grant community-based crime reduction initiative in our East Side neighborhood. So let's get started. Today's press conference is dedicated to our vision of creating a safe, welcoming, and vibrant neighborhoods for all residents throughout the city of Erie. Because the COVID-19 pandemic caused some of our initiatives to be put on hold for health reasons, we are now experiencing an increase in violence and crime. Today, we're focusing on several community policing, public safety, and crime reduction initiatives. We highly value the collaborative efforts of those who are presenting with us today. There are also many others here in Erie who have worked and continue to work together to reduce crime in Erie. Thanks to all of you. Your commitment is very inspiring. We begin today with an update by Sergeant Tom Lennox of the Police Athletic League, including an exciting new grant they just were awarded. Sergeant Lennox, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to give a quick update regarding the Police Athletic League. As most of you know, Erie POW had a pretty historic and active summer during which we conducted 3 camps. The first camp was hosted at the Erie Boys and Girls Club from June 21st to June 25th. And then for the second Erie POW camp, we launched the first annual Police Athletic League Junior Police Academy, which ran from June 28th to July 2nd. And finally, Erie POW conducted a third and final camp of the summer, which was the 5th annual Erie Police Athletic League Commuter Camp at Gannon University, which was held July 26th through July 30th. During the summer, Erie POW also conducted the summer program at the Erie Boys and Girls Club, in which POW kids were picked up by officers multiple times a week and taken to the center for various activities. And on September 18th of 2021, Erie POW partnered with the Erie Fire Department and the Sons of Lake Erie for a Fishing with Firefighters event in which 60 POW kids were taken to Presque Isle for a fishing trip and were provided with lunch and learned the fundamentals of fishing. At the conclusion of the fishing trip, the POW kids all received a free fishing pole and drawstring bags with items from the Erie Fire Department. Going into the 2021-2022 school year, I met with the City of Erie School District last week on making Erie POW an official after-school program. We anticipate that the after-school programming will begin in the schools mid to late October after the final details are finalized. It is Erie POW's intentions to have programming in the following schools: Piper Burley Elementary, McKinley Elementary, Harding Elementary, Lincoln Elementary, Jefferson Elementary, East Middle School, Strong Vincent Middle School, Wilson Middle School, Erie High, Northwest Pennsylvania Collegiate Academy, Eagles Nest, Erie Boys and Girls Club, the Trinity Center, and newly added partner, the St. Martin's Center. New components and programming to be implemented in Erie POW this year will be as follows. We're going to finally incorporate the Erie Fishing Program, again partnering with the Sons of Lake Erie. Also new this year is we're going to start the Erie Police Athletic League legal debate team, which is going to be started and led by Deputy City Solicitor Catherine Doyle and the Erie County Bar Association. We also are going to be implementing an Erie Police Athletic League faith group. In addition, that we are going to be creating Erie Police Athletic League Junior POW Board. The main reason why we are all here today is to thank and show tremendous appreciation to Erie Insurance for allocating a $30,000 grant to the Erie Police Athletic League, which will help us expand on our educational components of our program during the school year. I would like to personally thank Erie Insurance CEO Tim Nicastro, Community Outreach Manager Ann Scott, who's here with us today, Community Outreach Specialist Brian Wilkins, City of Erie grant writer Abby Skinner for all working hard together to make this grant come to a fruition for Erie PAL. During the school year, it is Erie PAL's intention to take our Erie PAL kids on 3 separate field trips to Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and Cleveland for an educational trips to the science centers, planetariums, and museums in those 3 cities. Without the support of Erie Insurance and believing in Erie PAL and our mission, none of those trips would be possible. I'm excited for the upcoming school year and truly look forward to the growth and expansion of the program. The Erie Police Department will continue to partner with the Erie County Sheriff's Department, the school district, and Erie PAL to foster the positive relationships being created between our officers and the youth of our city to mentor today's youth and to become tomorrow's leaders. Thank you, and now I'd like to turn it over to Ann Scott, Community Outreach Manager at Erie Insurance. Ann?
Thank you very much. For more than 96 years, Erie Insurance has been committed to our hometown of Erie, Pennsylvania, and supporting programs that are aligned with education is a big part of our community building focus area. The Investing in Our Future grant initiative, which this grant was a part of, is focused on strengthening the alignment between instructional programming and out-of-school time activities and supporting early childhood education. We all can benefit from the work of the Police Athletic League, which is to strengthen relationships between at-risk youth and law enforcement. And we know the benefits of having adult role models who build relationships with kids and support them in positive ways. This program is particularly impressive because of the mentoring and leadership components, as well as the opportunity to learn about careers in law enforcement. The connection to positive role models who are people of color is also very valuable. We believe the Police Athletic League will help strengthen our goal of reducing poverty through education together. So we're very pleased to make this grant to the Police Athletic League, and we thank them for the wonderful work that they're doing with our Erie kids. Thank you.
And thank you very much, and thanks to Erie Insurance for recognizing the importance of the PAL program and for supporting our community outreach efforts. This funding will really help us to expand and grow the program so that our community building efforts will have a greater impact on increasing public safety. Sergeant Lennox, thank you and all the police officers who work with Erie Youth in the Police Athletic League. I highly value all that you and your team do to lift up our youth and to provide them with support, direction, and a path to a successful future. When I first took office in January of 2018, PAL was about a dozen police officers working with about 50 students in grades 3, 4, and 5. Today we have over 70 police officers working with 600 youth in Erie PAL from 3rd grade all the way up through high school. I have seen firsthand the greatly improved relationships PAL forms between cops and kids here in Erie. In fact, 2 days ago, on Tuesday, I attended the swearing in of Christopher Lawrence as a private police officer for Gannon University. Christopher is one of the first graduates of the PAL program. This is one specific example of how Sergeant Lennox and the PAL officers in the program are really transforming Erie. Sergeant Lennox, his team, and all of us are committed to bringing more children into the program so we can show them how much we care, and so Erie youth have a hope today and see opportunity in the future. Next, we want to focus on Unified Erie, a violence reduction initiative that uses data to drive decisions and work towards evidence-based solutions. In recent uptick in violence that we've experienced is unacceptable. Those engaging in violence must stop. Our community is better than this, and we are redoubling our efforts to implement solutions that work. Unified Erie is a partnership of service providers, faith-based leaders, the Mercier Civic Institute, the District Attorney's Office, the U.S. Attorney's Office, Erie Police Department, GCAC, Erie Together, and the City of Erie. That's quite a group all together working on this. Since its inception, it's been extremely successful at reducing gang violence. We have several of our partners with us today to share updates on where we are and what are the next steps. First, I want to invite Amy Eisert, Director of the Mercyhurst University Civic Institute, to explain Unified Erie and provide insights into its three prongs. Amy, the floor is yours.
Good morning, and thank you, Mayor. Unified Erie partners continue through their work through the three-prong approach to addressing violence: prevention, enforcement, and reentry. Crime reduction efforts require the attention and resources be dedicated to all three prongs simultaneously to have a sustainable impact. While the city experienced over a 2-year elimination of gang and group-related homicides after the first implementation of the group violence reduction strategy, unfortunately, those efforts have been impacted over the past 18 months due to the pandemic, and there has been an increase in shots fired and individuals being shot. While efforts have primarily focused on gun and gang violence, that will continue, but concerns also arise in regards to domestic violence in 2018 that spurred additional efforts to work with existing domestic violence partners within the Erie community. A strategic planning process supported by the Erie County District Attorney's Office and facilitated by Erie Together was put into place in the summer of 2019. And those efforts are working towards implementation of those strategies at the beginning of 2022. More information on those efforts will be provided and released in the next coming weeks. The prevention branch of Unified Erie continues through the Erie County Policy and Planning Council, focused on long-range prevention efforts that were outlined in a 2017 Community Action Plan, focused on the 3 priority risk factors of youth and families in Erie County. Those being family management issues, which are proper limit setting and discipline, family histories of antisocial behaviors, which means cyclical patterns that we see within families, and low perceived risk of drug use. Erie County has many services and supports. However, the issues tend to remain in awareness and access to those resources for the families that need them most. Focus continues on working in partnership with early childhood providers on education and awareness efforts, expanding training to non-traditional partners such as faith-based organizations, medical providers, and neighborhood groups, supporting mentoring among youth within the community, addressing confidentiality and trust issues within the school district and the school settings, and partnering with the community school efforts. The planning process utilizes the Pennsylvania Youth Survey data, that is a survey of 6th, 8th, 10th, and 12th graders in our community. The current Community Action Plan was developed in 2017, so the data that we derive from the 2021 survey this year will be available this spring, and that will be utilized to evaluate the efforts of 2017, as well as develop the next 5-year plan. In regards to enforcement efforts, due to the pandemic, as I stated, the group violence reduction strategy efforts had to be modified. So what we had been doing was our group call-ins, they had to be suspended. Custom notifications have continued over this time when appropriate, spearheaded by juvenile probation and the district attorney's office. Analysis has been underway, along with plans to resume traditional in-person call-ins in the very near future. Violence has increased. As the mayor said, violence is not okay, and efforts will move forward in an attempt to keep people safe, alive, and out of prison. Additional enforcement efforts have also continued through the Gun Control Working Group involving local, county, state, and federal partners. Those efforts have resulted in over 209 arrests, 111 gun seizures and recoveries, and 66 drug seizures in the first half of 2021. The reentry efforts continue through the Erie County Services and Support Alliance, and they continue to address individuals returning from incarceration, as well as individuals who are identified as being high risk for violence within the Erie community. The ECRSSA received 1,226 referrals in 2020. 40% of those individuals being under county probation supervision or parole supervision, and 47% being under state supervision. Intensive case management services were provided to 439 individuals during 2020. Of the clients receiving those services that closed during 2020, 78% had identified employment as a need, and 57% of them obtained employment during their services in the program. Recidivism rates for individuals in the ECRSSA program continue to be below the baseline data for Erie County, with 35% of individuals receiving intensive case services having new charges within 3 years, and 15% having new charges resulting in incarceration within 3 years, with the primary offenses being those being charged with new charges regarding drugs, theft, and disorderly conduct. Everyone has a role to play in keeping our communities safe. If you have family members who are in need of supports, please access the many resources we have in Erie that can help. Information about the evidence-based programs for youth and families can be found on the unifiederie.org website. Resources for individuals experiencing domestic violence can be found on the website as well under the DVAA tab, Domestic Violence Action Alliance. We live in a society right now that is more isolated than ever. People do not want to get involved in other people's business, and the pandemic has increased that isolation. Please reach out and get to know and care for your neighbors. And if you are in a position to assist some way through your professional, social, faith roles, please find a way to help and fit in. And now I will return it over to Chief Dan Spizarny for some additional remarks. Thank you.
Good morning. First off, I want to thank everybody for coming today, especially Erie Insurance, and thank you for the donation to the PAL League. It's been a tremendous program that continues to grow. It's a unique program for our area, and the results are going to come to this community. I'm sure, the Mayor, that this program is a fantastic source of the future of the city. Amy, thanks for the update on Unified Erie. Erie Police Department has always just been one part of the community, enforcement. Unified Erie takes in the three prongs, and we join together through various programs that are researched, data-driven, and provide us with a blueprint of how to go forward and bring the community along with us. We're very proud to be part of it and working hard. It had great success. If it hadn't been for COVID and the pandemic, I think that success would have continued. Unfortunately, it wasn't, and we've experienced some uptick in crime. Actually, our shots fired and people shot this year is significantly high. I'm concerned about it. You should be too. I think that the plan is to continue. We've got a call-in. We're in the process of planning right now, but it's going to take some more, and it's going to take all the agencies in the city, law enforcement and social service agencies working together to move us forward. But it all still comes down to the police have to be on the enforcement side. Now I just want to talk about yesterday here. In the recent past week or two, we've had a significant number of shootings. I want to just tell you about yesterday. Yesterday morning, about 7:30 in the morning, the United States Marshal Service, along with the Erie Police Department, went out to serve an arrest warrant. The warrant was for a 17-year-old individual. This 17-year-old was accused of shooting up a house last Friday morning at 8 a.m. During that shooting, the house had 6 individuals inside, everyone from a newborn to a 70-year-old. Not only were there 6 people inside that house, but there were young kids down at the corner waiting for their school bus at 8 a.m. Yet this individual, 17 years old with a handgun, decided that he was going to shoot up that house. Luckily, officers got a warrant and arrested him. And during his arrest, they did locate a handgun. 17-year-old. Now I'm going to go off track here a little bit, but This also brings up another story. The other day, I had a pastor call, and a friend of his was stopped by the police, and he thought he was mistreated. I asked him to come on in so we could talk about it. It turns out that his friend, in his 60s, was driving a vehicle. It was minutes after the shooting last Friday morning, and we had a description of a car, a very unique description, and I think the pastor would even acknowledge that it was a unique-looking vehicle. But apparently it's not that unique because there's at least two of them out there. But his friend was stopped, and our officers are stopped treating this car as a felony shooting suspect. A house had just been shot, and minutes earlier, here was the vehicle. They had to stop the car as a felony stop. They took the individual out, ordered him at gunpoint to his knees, his hands behind his back. They cuffed him. And of course, this individual had no clue why he was being stopped. He was upset that the police were stopping him for no reason. He hadn't done anything wrong. But it's this very kind of situation that innocent victims of the city, he may not have been shot, but he's a victim in this himself because he had to be stopped by the police so that they can determine whether or not this vehicle and this individual were involved. Fortunately, within minutes, it was determined that he was not related and he was released and on his way. No harm, no foul, except that victim now has that experience of having been pulled over at gunpoint by the police. This is not what we can allow happen in our community. This is what gun crime does to the whole community. It erodes the trust, and the police are just trying to do their jobs. Yesterday afternoon, 4:30 in the afternoon, we had a report of gunshots in the 1100 block of Pennsylvania Avenue. This was at a church basketball court next door to a daycare, which had kids in it. And through witnesses, we determined that a Jeep driven by a female had pulled up, let two individuals out. Those two individuals walked up towards the basketball courts and suddenly, without warning, opened fire on a group of kids playing basketball. A 17-year-old was struck in the leg. As of last night, he had gone into surgery. I have not gotten an update yet this morning, but I believe that he will survive, but he had to have surgery to repair his leg. The good news is that within 30 minutes, officers on patrol spotted a vehicle that they believed was the suspect vehicle. They pulled that vehicle over. They arrested three individuals, 16 years old, 17 years old, and a 23-year-old female driver. Located in the car was a gun. They were charged with the shooting at that basketball court. Now, this 16-year-old, he was out on bond for a case where he was charged with shooting two people back in April. But here he is out on bond. Not only did that 16-year-old, not only is he an active shooter to us, but his own mother's house has been shot twice. This is that cycle of violence that continues, and it keeps affecting the same population. Today's victims, tomorrow's suspect, and vice versa. It's a cycle that needs to be stopped. And we're doing everything we can. We're partnering with all the other agencies we can. And I think the good part is Lori's about to speak, and and Lori's going to talk about the burn grant. And the burn grant is something that we've been working on here for, I think, over 2 years ago. We put in for this grant. We've targeted this particular area of the city. It's 20 blocks long from 6th to 26th, but it's only about 8 blocks wide. 10% of the population of the city lives in this area, yet 30% of the city's crime occurs in that area. It's not just the citizens that live there that are impacted, but it's their friends, family, the people that do business in those areas, that travel through those areas, innocent victims. Innocent victims need to stand up and fight back when these kind of crimes happen. We're here to do that. We're here to work with our partners, and Lori's going to talk about what the Erie Police Department and our partners are going to be doing the next 3 years on this burn grant. So, thank you very much. I think the Mayor's going to speak.
Thank you very much, Chief. That was an incredible look into what's going on right now in Erie, the problems we're facing, and I really appreciate the work you and your team are doing on this. I also want to take a minute to thank Amy for her presentation as well, and all of our partners, many of which are sitting in the audience today. Really appreciate what everyone is doing. Thanks for your dedication, for your passion, and for your persistence with this. We will turn it around. This work is difficult, but I find it truly inspirational when we're successful. The partnership between law enforcement, faith leaders, and service providers has been amazing as we all work collaboratively to find and implement solutions. I look forward to continuing on this path together to prevent crime by providing our residents with the services that they really need so that their hope is restored and they have a choice of a much better life than a life of crime. I have been awestruck to hear firsthand during the call-in meetings I've attended the struggles, tragedies, and challenges faced by some Erie residents. I have heard many heartbreaking stories over the last few years, but I have also seen people use their past adversity to help others who are now struggling. I firmly support the three-pronged focus of prevention, enforcement, and reentry. I am very happy that the Erie Police Department embraces Erie Unified's three-pronged approach as its crucial component in creating safe neighborhoods. To solve problems, we must get to the root causes. We must use data to ensure that our solutions are attacking the right problems. We must provide support and bring the resources to the table that will help our residents live a productive life and be an important part of our community. To help us achieve this, in 2019, the City of Erie applied for a burn community-based crime reduction grant from the Bureau of Justice of the U.S. Department of Justice. In October of 2020, we announced the award of $958,434 in a burn grant for crime reduction project in Erie's East Side neighborhoods. The focus area of this project is Holland to Wayne Street and East 6th Street to East 26th Street. That zip code's 16503. There's an estimated population there of 8,855 people. The Bureau of Justice Assistance helps make American communities safer by strengthening the nation's criminal justice system. This includes providing legal governments like ours with three things: training and technical assistance, policy development services, and cutting-edge tools and the best practices to reduce violent and drug-related crime. All of this supports law enforcement and combats victimization. The innovations in this community-based crime reduction program increases the ability of local communities to reduce violent crime issues in distressed neighborhoods. The goal is to reduce crime, increase trust, and improve community safety as part of a comprehensive strategy to rebuild and revitalize our neighborhoods. For the past year, the steering committee has been working on completing a strategic, collaborative, and community-oriented plan to reduce crime. Here to provide an update is Lori Pickens, the coordinator of our community-based crime reduction burn grant initiative. Lori, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, Erie. Currently, the BCJI project is moving forward and on time with its current phase and plans to shift into implementation. We have roughly 25 individuals who represent the community organizations on our cross-sector committee who are vested in the community in a variety of ways and meet on a monthly basis. The representation includes City of Erie, community service organizations, Erie School District, Erie County probations, faith-based institutions, and neighborhood watch groups. A community survey was completed in the early spring of 2021 with 204 residents and stakeholders of 306 from the focus area of Holland to Wayne, East 6th to 26th Street. In addition to surveys, focus groups were used to capture additional feedback, particularly with families, youth, and new Americans. In August, in response to the request from residents, our community organizations launched a neighborhood cleanup campaign called Care for Your Neighbor. We utilized the cross-sector organization to take lead on the effort while other organizations physically aided or aided through resources. Serve Erie led our team with a 3-day effort, August 22nd through the 24th, from East 6th to East 12th Street, within the target area, with a community cookout on the last day at Piper Burley Elementary School. We deployed 235 volunteers, cleaned 24 city blocks, removed 700 to 1,000 tires, removed 70 TVs, removed 6,930 cubic feet of trash, cleared 697 cubic feet of brush. We are extremely happy to share that tons of our administrators and educators from the Erie School District, along with Superintendent Brian Polito and Assistant Superintendent Teresa Zumagala, led groups in cleanup and registration. In September, there was a community cleanup held and led by the Sisters of St. Joseph's Neighborhood Network and other neighborhood watch groups. The cleanup took place September 23rd from East 12th to East 26th Street with the assistance of 50 Mercyhurst students. The survey indicated that residents believe there is a need for more blight removal, home repair assistance, more structured youth programs being available, more community policing. We will be in position to shift out of the planning phase and move into implementation once our plan is submitted and approved by the IACP and the DOJ. In the initial onset of the rollout, we will focus on the following top requests: increase community awareness of resources, community-focused policing efforts, community cleanup programs, increased accountability of those individuals already on court supervision, employment, youth apprenticeship programs and opportunities for youth, mentoring through the extension of Blue Coats into our community beyond school hours. We are looking forward to continuing the work together and shift into the implementation phase. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lori. Really appreciate the work you're doing, and thanks to your steering committee as well. I look forward to us beginning to implement this plan, as you've already actually started to do. The City of Erie is committed to working with our research partner, Mercyhurst Civic Institute, to collect and analyze data and support data-driven strategies built on this promising model. Thanks also to Amy Eisert for all your collaboration. We're also working with the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Erie on blight removal and creating additional housing assistance and home repair programs. We will be sharing more details on that study session with City Council this coming Tuesday, October the 5th at a 5:30 p.m. study session. You can also participate on that via Zoom if you want to watch it. Finally today, I want to remind everyone that Over the Edge Erie 2021 is taking place next Friday, October 8th. There'll be 65 participants who will be going over the edge of the Bicentennial Tower. Each participant will be lowering themselves down the 138 feet of the Bicentennial Tower while watching the majestic view of Erie's bayfront. 3 great local nonprofits will benefit from donations made in support of this Over the Edge project. They are the Achievement Center of LECOM Health, Family Services of Northwest PA, and Safe Harbor Behavioral Health. So far, this event has raised about $21,500 from about 308 donors or contributors. In addition, $45,000 in sponsorships. Major sponsors included Erie News Now, LECOM, Toyota of Erie, and UPMC Hammett, their health plan. That wraps up, finally, today's press conference. There will be no press conference next Thursday, October 7th, because I'll be in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, attending the Pennsylvania Municipal League Leadership Summit. So until Thursday, October 14th, which will be the next press conference. Please follow us on social media for the latest updates, announcement, events, and everything that's happening in Erie. Thanks to everyone who is watching and took part in it, and everyone who spoke will now be available for interviews. Thanks very much for being here.